State your purpose.
We are moving through. Clear the way.
The gate to Sector 7 of the Galactic Transit Hub was not designed for drama. It was a simple arch of pale alloy, monitored by bored customs officers and flanked by vending units selling nutrient cubes in 17 flavors. Ships docked. Passengers shuffled through. Forms were stamped. Nothing interesting ever happened at Gate 7. Then Emma walked in. She was not tall by human standards, 5 feet 4 inches in worn boots, carrying a duffel bag that looked like it had survived a war. It had. Her dark hair was pulled back in a knot that had lost the battle against gravity an hour ago. She wore no insignia, no uniform, no rank marks. Just jeans, a faded jacket with a coffee stain on the left sleeve, and the kind of expression that suggested she had personally argued with the universe and won. Behind her, in single file, heads low, enormous bodies somehow made small, came 4 of them. 4 Vrethkai. The customs line froze. A Vrethkai was the kind of creature that made empires reconsider their foreign policy. They stood 3 meters tall on average, covered in layered natural armor plating the color of dried blood. They had 6 limbs, 4 for walking and 2 articulated upper arms ending in clawed hands capable of crushing titanium plating. Their eyes were triple-lidded and pale as moons. They communicated in subsonic rumbles that humans could feel in their teeth before they could hear them. Vrethkai did not follow anyone. Vrethkai led, or they hunted. Those were the only 2 settings. And yet, all 4 of them padded silently behind the human woman, watching her back with the focused attention of animals who had decided, at some profound biological level, that this particular creature was the most important thing in their world. Jack noticed it first. He was supposed to be off duty, leaning against the customs barrier with a cold cup of station coffee, killing time before his patrol shift. He was a transit security officer, 15 years in, and he had processed thousands of arrivals. Diplomats, refugees, smugglers who thought they were clever. Once, memorably, a being made entirely of organized static who had technically not violated any law because no law had been written to cover it. He had never seen anything like this. He set down his coffee, walked over, and did the thing that his brain was telling him was statistically unwise. He stepped directly into Emma's path. He said, keeping his voice calm and professional. His hand did not go for his weapon. His instincts, finely tuned by 15 years of not dying, told him that would be a catastrophic mistake. Can I ask what's happening here? Emma stopped. She looked at him with eyes the color of river stones, gray-green, steady, completely unimpressed. Customs check, she said. These are Vrethkai, Jack said, as though she might not have noticed. Yes, Emma agreed. Vrethkai don't. He paused. They don't travel with humans. These ones do. She reached into her jacket and produced a data chip, which she held out to him between 2 fingers as though she were offering him a business card. Transit permits, species documentation, and a diplomatic courtesy letter from High Arbiter Voss of the Vrethkai sovereign territories, countersigned by the human consul general. You'll find everything in order. Jack took the chip carefully. His eyes moved, once, just once, to the 4 enormous creatures standing behind her. The nearest one met his gaze. Its triple lids shifted slowly. It did not move. It did not rumble. It simply watched him in the way that large predators watch things that haven't yet decided whether to run. Then it looked back at Emma's shoulders, and the tension in its frame, some deep, unconscious readiness, softened slightly. Jack decided to process the chip very quickly. The chip was, in fact, completely in order. Her name was Emma Vasquez, Xenobiological Field Consultant. 7 years operating in unclaimed space, 4 of those in Vrethkai territorial waters. No criminal record. A list of citations from 3 different academic institutions. A note flagged, starred, and underlined by someone in the diplomatic office read, "Do not obstruct. Do not escalate. Extend every professional courtesy. Trust us on this one." Jack found his supervisor, a woman named Dale, who had seen many things and retained her capacity for surprise only on special occasions. "There's a human woman at Gate 7, he said, with 4 Vrethkai following her. Dale looked up from her screen. That was a good sign. Dale looking up meant something had managed to be genuinely unusual. "Following?" she repeated. "Yes. Not escorting." "Following," Jack said again. "Like." He paused, searching for the right word. "Like dogs, but enormous, armored, and with claws." Dale was quiet for a moment. "Did you run her credentials?" "Clean. Diplomatic override from both sides." "Then let her through," Dale said, and looked back at her screen. Then she looked up again. "Jack." "Yay." "Put it in the report. Word for word. Exactly what you saw." He understood. Some things needed to be documented. Not because anyone would believe it, but because if it kept happening, eventually someone was going to need to understand it. Emma was not trying to cause a scene. She had, in fact, spent the last 3 years of her life trying not to cause scenes in public spaces, with limited success. The problem was not her. The problem was that the Vrethkai concept of social hierarchy was perfectly rational from a Vrethkai perspective, and she had accidentally fulfilled it in a way that no human had ever done before. And they were not subtle about the aftermath. It had started, as these things often did, with an extremely stupid decision. She had been on survey assignment, cataloging fungal networks on a border world, when a young Vrethkai scout, juvenile, maybe the equivalent of 12 human years, had stumbled into her camp with a snare injury to one of its lower limbs. The adult pack was 3 days' travel behind it. She had 2 options. Leave it, or help it. She had chosen the second option because she was Emma Vasquez, and that was what she did. The surgery, if you could call it that, performed with a field kit and considerable improvisation, had taken 6 hours. The juvenile had tried to bite her twice in panic and succeeded once, leaving a scar on her forearm that she now covered with her jacket sleeve. She had held it still with her body weight, spoken to it in the subsonic patterns she'd spent 2 years learning, and kept it calm through a procedure that should have required a full veterinary team. When the pack arrived, they had found the juvenile sleeping, its injury bound, breathing steadily, and Emma sitting 3 feet away, eating a protein bar covered in alien ichor and looking profoundly tired. The pack leader had stood over her for a very long time. In Vrethkai social structure, there was a concept that translated roughly as Vreshki Nor, the one who does not run. The one who stays when staying costs something. It was not precisely a title. It was more like a category of being that the pack recognized as fundamental, above politics, above hierarchy, outside the normal rules of interaction. Emma had not known this at the time. She had found out later, when the pack leader formally requested, through 3 layers of increasingly confused diplomatic channels, that she be permitted to travel within their territorial space under pack recognition status. It had taken the human diplomatic corps 6 months to process the paperwork because no one had ever needed that form before. At Gate 7, the 4 Vrethkai followed her through the scanner arch without incident. The scanner beeped frantically at the armor plating and then gave up. Emma collected her bag from the belt, shouldered it, and walked toward the exit corridor. The 4 Vrethkai fell into a loose diamond formation around her, not blocking her, not constraining her, simply present. A moving perimeter of biological impossibility organized around one tired woman with a coffee stain on her jacket. Jack watched them go. The other passengers in the terminal had arranged themselves against the walls, giving the procession the maximum possible space. Most of them were staring. Several had recording devices out. One small child, deathly blue-skinned and barely waist-high to a human adult, pointed with all 4 of its tiny hands and said something in its language that its parent immediately shushed. Emma didn't look back. She had a connecting flight to catch, a field report 3 weeks overdue, and absolutely no interest in being anyone's documentary subject. Behind her, the nearest Vrethkai, the largest one, the one who had briefly made eye contact with Jack, made a sound so low it registered more as a vibration than a noise. Jack had spent enough time around translation technology to catch the approximate meaning. She is ours. Walk clear. He picked up his cold coffee. He finished it. He went to write the most interesting incident report of his career. Nobody had warned the pack about her arrival. They hadn't needed to. The pack always knew where she was. All four filed through the gate behind her, and the universe quietly rearranged itself to make room.